House of Light brings clarity to your soul, offering a safe space for healing through our compassionate practitioners, services, classes, and wisdom, plus the tools to support you in our retail space.
This is MJ Graham with Columbus River Dragons, your home for River Dragons hockey. Newnan 99 Rock.
Good morning. Welcome to WQEE 99.1. I'm Donna.
And I am Bruce.
And this is Lyrical Wisdom. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Donna.
And good morning to you, Ryan.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning,
What a
Ryan.
Beautiful day it is.
Oh my gosh, a beautiful day.
Lots of sunshine. It's a little cool.
It is a little cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of that leftover of the seasons changing.
Yes, it is. Definitely. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. And I felt very compelled this morning to just get up out there and say a very, well, from my heart, a very loud, I love you, je t'aime, yo te amo, ich liebe. In all the languages I know how to say, I love you, universe, I love you all, because it is just a beautiful morning this morning.
You know, there is something in the air.
Yeah.
It's just good to be alive.
It is
right
so
now.
good, yeah.
I mean, there's so much craziness going on and something looming over us in the United States. Shall we mention it?
Absolutely.
I hope you all have a wonderful, exciting, and transformative total solar eclipse.
I feel like we needed some sort of like sound effects for that somehow. I don't know how, but the total solar eclipse coming up, exciting.
Yeah, it would have been too much to do that heart, total eclipse of the heart song.
That could have been a little.
That would have been too much. So we decided to go back in time.
We did, and this is a wonderful song, especially for today and for right now.
I think so too.
Yeah. This is
because it's a brand new season.
It is a brand new season.
Spring has sprung.
It has sprung, and even with these little hints of the frosty kind of feeling in the morning, we feel a little chilly, but it's the changeover. It's that beautiful transition.
Yes.
And
yes.
I believe that it is what we're going to talk about today from transitioning of kind of a before and after.
Okay. Yeah. And how are we going to do that? Through a beautiful song, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
And the lyrics that are so full of wisdom.
They really are. And should we tell them which one?
Yes, we have picked out a oldie but goodie.
Yes. Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks. Goodbye to you, my trusted friend. We've known each other since we were 9 or 10. Together, we've climbed hills and trees, learned of love and ABCs, skinned our hearts and skinned our knees. Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, pretty girls are everywhere. Think of me, and I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. Goodbye, Papa, please pray for me. I was the black sheep of the family. You tried to teach me right from wrong. Too much wine and too much song. Wonder how I got along. Goodbye, Papa. It's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, little children everywhere. When you see them, I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. But the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. We had joy, We had fun. We had seasons in the sun. But the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. Goodbye, Michelle, my little one. You gave me love and helped me find the sun. And every time that I was down, you would always come around and get my feet back on the ground. Goodbye, Michelle. It's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, with the flowers everywhere, I wish that we could both be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just starfish on the beach. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just starfish on the beach. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. All our lives we had fun. We had seasons in the sun. But the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. I really,
Yeah, you really?
I really felt that last paragraph. We had joy, not we had joy, all our lives. We had fun. We had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. Reading that, I just felt like I needed to slow down for a second and just let that kind of simmer, I don't know how else to say it, but just kind of sink in.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, just allow it to be, to
Yes.
melt, to resonate.
Kind of
and
get
just-
in there.
Right,
Yeah.
let the frequency do its thing.
Yeah, and I could really feel that with this song. And go ahead, reading it, I really feel connected with what we were talking about right before we started talking about the song and its in the lyrics there.
Exactly, and as you read it, Bruce, I began to really, really see this song and feel this song in a totally different light. And the beautiful thing about it was that when you were talking about Michelle,
Yes,
my little
yes.
one, you gave me love and helped me find the sun. When I was down, you would always come around and help me get my feet back on the ground.
Yeah.
And what I just had that vision of you and I at the coffee shop right before we came here to be
Yeah.
live on the radio.
Yeah.
And it was a girl,
Oh my
a
gosh.
little girl.
Yeah.
You know, a lady sat down with her child and
Yes.
she just looked at you and laughed and laughed. And to see the joy bubbling out of you, it was such a beautiful thing to
thank you.
witness.
Well, thank you.
And I could see it in this song
Oh.
as well. It was like, yes.
Yeah, I wish we could have our voices playing right now at Leaf and Bean so that they could hear us over there to hear us saying this story, simply because that was a really beautiful moment for us there. I cannot lie. I just really felt that, and that's exactly how I felt when it said in this portion of the lyrics. We're kind of jumping around here. I hope you guys don't mind out there. But there's a portion where it says there are children everywhere. And when I
Yes.
read that, it just, I felt like my heart was started singing, you know, in a way, you know, because I just realized, like, wow, you know, that really is something that, oh my gosh, that was such joy this morning.
You're right, and that was another verse that made me think of that as well. I was like, oh dear, you know, it's like, .
Yeah,
when I left this morning, 3 of my grandchildren showed up for my daughter to babysit, who already has 3 children. So
Wow.
my whole driveway was just full of children, and I had to smile
Yeah.
because the sun was shining.
Yes.
And you could just feel that spring in the air. The season has changed.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you say that. I was just thinking about the sun and how it feels like sometimes when I look at these little children's faces that it just looks like it's shining right off of their face.
Yeah.
And it's just beaming through them in their light.
Yeah, yeah. So when I look at this song, Bruce, I really, really resonate with the title,
Yeah.
Seasons in the Sun, and the whole song, I believe, is about the songwriter's passing. And he's going through the seasons of his life.
Yeah.
Beginning as a young child,
Yeah.
you know, thinking about his trusted friend.
Absolutely.
So goodbye to you, my trusted friend. We've known each other since we were 9 or 10. Together we've climbed hills and trees, learned of love and ABCs. I love this line.
I do too.
Skinned our hearts and skinned our knees.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's about that wonderful season of childhood.
Yeah.
Of just being free and experiencing life without boundaries.
Yes.
Just being able to climb hills and climb trees
Yes.
and be free.
Yes. and to love.
And to love. And then, but of course, you know, society says you have to be trained or whatever, educated.
Yes.
So they send you to school and you got to learn your ABCs.
Of course. Of course.
But it's all about that time in life of the first season of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Where things are beginning, things are, you know, you're just free.
You are. You're
Young.
free. You're free to experience all of these things for the first time,
Right.
and not have an experience before that changes how you look at it suddenly because you haven't experienced it before. So it's a fresh, new, exciting, beautiful thing, and all of the feelings that come with that. And I love how it doesn't just go through that first season, but it kind of moves a little quickly in its own way because then we start to talk about the fact that they learned of love and ABCs, skinned our hearts and skinned our knees. And I love that because the way it is, it's so poetic. But it then, you know, it speaks to...
Those teenage years, your
Yes,
first love.
exactly. Thank you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that feeling of like how that feeling was the very first time, because then it goes on to say, goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, pretty girls are everywhere. Think of me and I'll be there. And I think that little nod to the pretty girls are everywhere is a little bit of what we're talking about here.
Young adult.
Yeah, young adult.
Yeah,
Just kind of
yeah.
moving these like through a period of time that can be encapsulated, if you will, and kind of, you know, remembered. Because this is, I agree with you, the writer who is speaking about his memory of his past and of his childhood and looking back and seeing that and saying, goodbye, my friend, goodbye to you, my trusted friend. He's speaking directly to himself. And it's really beautiful because you feel the lament of, goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. That's so beautiful. It's also such a comment on, wow, you know, I'm going to miss this place.
Yes, yes, yeah, and all those pretty girls. And you know, that is the interesting thing is such a beautiful way that he incorporated those seasons
Yes.
into life, you
Yeah.
know, because we are Earth. Do you know what I mean? I
Yes.
mean, our bodies, our body is Earth. blood, water is our blood.
Yeah.
Air is our prayer, and fire is our spirit. And when we realize that, and that the seasons are there to help us understand this thing called time, because because that's what he says.
Yeah.
He says we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
Yes.
But the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. Which, when you look at, it's a really deep line.
It really is.
Because time, when you learn and understand time, people, the linear timelines of birth, growth, death is all around us.
Yes.
That's what Earth is.
Yes.
In the seasons, you see the trees die. You see the flowers die and disappear.
You do.
And yet, every spring, there's rebirth. They come back. The trees, their leaves begin to bud again. So, the writer, I believe, does really bring that back to the song by saying, when you see them, I'll be there.
Yeah.
In other words, he's like, I'm still here. I am in everything all around you.
Reincarnated, rebirthed, and reborn.
I'm in those seasons.
Yes. And I agree. It's in the physical. It's in everything that we see that we notice these seasons like this. I agree. It's in the earth. We are in the earth. We are of the earth. And I agree. It's amazing. And I also think when we say we're just seasons out of time, that it's also, I feel like it's a comment on how we have constructed time, and that these hills that we climb are just seasons out of time, being that some of the hills that we climb, some of the adversity, there are things that are really, it's almost like it's in a different timeline. It's almost like it's a different, thank you very much. It's almost like it's a different, almost like a different place, almost like a different dimension, but it's just, that's what I think of as the seasons out of time.
Right, because if the learning and the knowing of those hills, you really don't have to climb them.
No.
They are what bring you out of time.
They do, yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's what he's trying to say, and what you're saying.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Learning that time is quantum and is secular, meaning, it comes back around, around. It's forever. It's infinite.
Yeah.
And the hill does not have to be climbed.
No.
You can go around it.
You can go around it, and you can actually, if you change your perspective, you could be walking down it instead of up it.
That's true.
And so...
Very true. And the beautiful thing about it is when you get to the top of the hill, you get to see everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and then, so then, there's the goodbye, Papa, please pray for me. I was the black sheep of the family. You tried to teach me right from wrong. Too much wine and too much song. Wonder how I got along. I think these are comments on these seasons in the sun of the life of the writer of this song. These things that were experienced. And it's a comment on a memory. And I think this is the process of the person that wrote this song, who is taking a pathway of healing by remembering these traumatic moments. Because here you have, I was the black sheep of the family. It's a little bit of a declaration of a chaos kind of creator, or somebody who's a little bit less easy to predict. Would that be accurate?
Yes, or someone who just didn't think they belonged.
There's a good point.
That
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
always,
Stuck
they were
out.
like the rebel of the
Yeah,
family.
yeah, yes, thank you. That was exactly what I was.
I can relate to that, Bruce. Because I used to call myself the exact same thing.
Wow.
The black sheep of the family.
Synchronicity.
Pushing the boundaries. So it's always looking for that freedom, for that, season
Yes.
in time.
Yes.
In other words, wait a minute, this doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
That, okay, you got to go to school, you got to go to college, you got to get married, you got to have children, you got to have a job,
Right.
This blocking or linearity.
It's like a script.
Exactly. And for me, I feel the definition of the black sheep being, hey, I'm just different.
Yeah,
I'm being me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to follow the crowd.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a sheep.
And they might
I'm
all
going to
turn-
stick out in the crowd
Yes.
because I would like to experience life
Yeah.
my way.
And this is what is harmonious and good to me. And I love
But a
that.
lot of people, I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt
you're
you, a
good,
lot
you're
of
good.
people do put a negative connotation to that black sheep, and that's what he says. I was the black sheep. Too much
Yes.
wine and too much song. In other words, he partied all the time.
Yes. and you tried to teach me right from wrong. The things that he's admitting in this way, he's looking back on some of these actions as his own way, to me, of really speaking to how he's forgiving himself.
Yes.
Because then, he really speaks to, the idea, wonder how I got along, kind of showing humility.
Yes.
And feeling humble in that.
Yes.
And then he goes on to say, goodbye, Papa, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, little children everywhere, when you see them, I'll be there. Yes, I am.
Yes.
It gives me goosebumps now,
Right, because the joy.
Yes.
He is joy now.
Yeah.
When you can release all of the baggage, all of the hills to climb, you can just enjoy the season
Yes.
of the sun.
Yes, yes.
Which is, everyone always looks for that season. Summer.
Yeah, yeah.
School's out,
Yeah.
It's that season of joy.
It is. And
Of
it is
just being.
It is. And it's also right now we are speaking at what is going to be the end of spring break.
Yes.
And so there's another, we have spring coming, and there's these breaks for children that are really amazing, because then they just really let their hair down and go out there and have fun. And that's a part of these seasons that I see. And we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the wine and the song, like the seasons, have all gone. And they repeat that in the second one they sing here. But it just really amazes me, because I think of a little bit of what, in the Greek mythology, what Dionysus sometimes brought to the table when he would come to town with the partying and
Yes.
the wine and the song.
Yes.
And I think of that in the sense of, sometimes looking back on that with the possibility of looking at it as, oh yeah, there were mistakes that were made, maybe that could be looked at. But really, it's like the wine and the song was, to me, an indication of enjoyment and celebratory, just fun and life and
Right.
living. And so I think that really speaks to me, like the seasons have all gone, but the wine and the song, like the seasons have all gone, because it is really saying we had joy and we had fun. It's just a different way.
That's right. And he's old now, and he's in bed, and
Yes.
the wine and the song are gone.
That cannot be. Yeah, that cannot be a part of that.
Right. And then the beautiful thing is he then brings in a child.
Yes.
Goodbye, Michelle, my little one. You gave me love and helped me find the sun. Every time that I was down, you would always come around and get my feet back on the ground.
Remind me about what was really important.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
just make me feel the joy of life
Yes, yeah.
and forget the
being grounded is so important in this life. So many people do want to just stay up in the clouds and be happy all the time. And there's when you are down in that place of, discouraged or, feeling down, sometimes you can't see the sun.
Yeah, no.
All you can see are gray clouds.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the face of a child can lift you out.
Boy, howdy.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
Right, because they are so pure, and that's all they are, is a ray of sun.
Yeah, they have not, and just like that little child this morning, they have just not experienced that moment of, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, they have, yes, you're right. I love it that he says, we had joy, we had sun, we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the stars we could reach were just starfish on the beach. So what he is saying, I believe, is, hey, I'm getting ready to be a star. I'm gonna go off into the ethers and shine in the sky. Just look up and you'll see me there as a star.
Yeah.
But what I remember is us picking up those starfish on the beach.
And they are magical.
Yes.
They are like we're picking up stars.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part when he says, all our lives we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. And I love that because he just says, all our lives we had fun. I love that because it is just basically saying, yes, this was joy.
Yeah. And what I gather from this is the hills that we climbed were just seasons out of time. In other words, remember that.
Yeah.
And try not to climb those hills. Remember, if you do climb those hills, you can see everything in a different way from above and be able to get back in time with your life and having fun with the seasons in the sun.
In the sun, yeah. And we actually just spoke about it really briefly before we started this show, actually, that, in winter, transitioning to spring, it's like the sun isn't moving every time it rises for like 3 days. Mm-hmm. And then it starts its pathway to move to the change to spring. And you can see this happening with the sun. And I know that was something that they measured in ancient times very, very distinctly.
Oh, yeah.
And so I really feel like that is something with the seasons and the sun in this song that is really that testament to that rebirth, that reincarnation.
Yes.
After 3 days. And
beautiful, exactly. And he went through 3 different time periods of his life.
Yes, that's amazing. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That was just, wow, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yes,
right there.
so it's all connected.
It is all connected.
Thank you all so much for being here today with us.
Yes.
Remember, you can email your requests to
lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Or you can send them to 99classicrock@gmail.com. 99classicrock@gmail.com. That's WQEE 99.1 FM.
Thank you so much for being with us today on Lyrical Wisdom.
Thank you, Donna.
You gave me love and helped me find